Today, we are the Group 1 and in a span of 3 days, we will be discussing the Chapter 2 of our lesson, which is the Sociopolitical and Economic Condition of the Philippines, na kung saan alamin natin ang naging kalagayan o estado ng Pilipinas noong 19th century. When we say 19th century, it's between 1800s to 1899. Ito ang panahon na ipinanganak si Dr. Jose Rizal. So just sit back, relax, and listen to our discussion. Good day, this is the first day of our video reporting, and I hope that you will learn a lot from our discussion. Sociopolitical and economic condition of the Philippines. Sociopolitical from the word itself is a combination of the involvement of both social and political factors. While economic condition refers to the macroeconomic variables and trends in a country or simply ang estado ng ekonomiya ng isang bansa. Individual and society is interlinked or magkaugnay with each other. For without individual, there's no such thing as society because society is composed of individuals. And at the same time, an individual is molded by the society where he or she belongs to. The 19th century was a period of social change, an era of growth, innovation, and industrialization, especially in Europe and United States. The essence of democracy and nationalism inspired revolutionaries to promote change in the fields of science, technology, economics, and politics. But regardless with this, the Philippines remain primitive, na nangangahulugan na natili pa rin ang estado ng Pilipinas kahit na may pag-unlad sa iba't ibang sektor. Because the government is filled with self-indulgent people na sarili lamang nila ang kanilang iniisip at hindi naatupag ang kaunlad ng ating bansa. The government remained deaf and blind to the people cry of injustice and suffering. The social and economic system of the country remained reliant on the feudalistic pattern. When we say feudalistic pattern, there's an absence of public authority. At dahil dito ay may racial discrimination and division na based on status quo. Talagang hindi nagustuhan ng mga mamamayan ang pamamalakad ng pamalaan. Inilahad man nila ang kanilang hinain, ngunit hindi ito pinansin. Kaya ito ang naging daan upang maging makabayan ang mga Pilipino. Rizal's masterpiece showcases experience in the Philippines and in the world, especially in Europe. Nakita niya at minungkahi ang pagkakaiba ng pamamalakad ng pamalaan ng Pilipinas at ng ibang bansa. The rough condition of society and mankind during his time led him to the idea that all mankind, regardless of status, is born free and had an equal rights with others. Na lahat ng tao ay pantay-pantay at may kalayaan at ito ang kanyang pinaglalaban. The Philippines in the 19th century. And we will be talking about three things: the social structure, the political system, and educational system. So the social structure in the Philippines during the 19th century is feudalistic in setup, where the domain and power are in the landlords or the wealthy few, the reason why there is a boundary between the landlords and tenants. This resulted in pyramid structure of social division. Spaniards dominated the peak of the pyramid. Spanish officials, peninsulars, friars comprise the topmost part of the pyramid. The middle part is composed of favored natives, mestizos, half-breed or criollos, or who are mixed in blood, Spanish, half Filipino, Philippine-born Spaniards, principalia or landowners, and Ilustrado who are educated Filipinos just like Dr. Jose Rizal. And the one who occupies the lowest part of the pyramid, the landless Indios who are degraded and enslaved by society. The Spanish occupation shaped the social structure of the Philippines. The master-slave relationship where the elite hold the Indios or yung mga Spaniards ay meron silang hawak sa mga Indios means is yung mga Pilipino, tayo mga Pilipino. Wherein sa panahon ding ito ay rampant ang exploitation at mas nahila pa tayo pababa dahil sa Spaniard tax at sa pilitang contribution, kaya mas lalo pa tayong mas naghirap. Where the powerless remain helpless and the rich increase in power. The social structure left the Indios powerless in their own native land. It's so sad, right, na tayong mga Pilipino ay naging alipin ng mga dayuhan na nanakop sa atin sa sariling bansa natin. So, nakakalungkot talaga dahil kahit na tayo ang may karapatan dahil ito naman ay ating bansa, ngunit tayo ang nasa pinakamababang antas, 'di ba? Sa pinakita kong litrato kanina is like yung pyramid, 'di ba? Ang nasa tuktok ay yung mga Spaniards, while tayo mga Pilipino, mga Indios is nasa pinakamababang antas. So talagang napaka-unfair sa part natin, di ba? Kaya mabuti na lang at meron tayong mga bayani na pinaglaban ng ating kalayaan.
Good evening everyone. I'm Arnold Abellana. I'll be the one to discuss to you the political system in our country during the Spanish era. It's to start with political system. Political system. In the 19th century, the Philippines government revolved around the dominion of the Spanish colonizers. The executive, legislative, judicial, and religious power held the Spanish monarch. In these times, since we are being colonized by Spaniards, sila yung namamahala dito sa atin in terms of the above mentioned. Next, Ministro de Ultramar, Ministry of Colonies, established in Madrid, Spain. The Philippine affairs were governed in accordance with the will of the Spanish monarch. Also, this ministry is directly reported to the King of Spain. Again, since sakop tayo ng mga Espanyol noon, they ruled over our country in with the mandate of the King of Spain. Moreover, King of Spain, he held the civil guards and all government officials in the Philippines in this era. Another, Governor General, he held the supreme authority in the economic and financial dealing in the country. He acquired a portion of the Intendant General's power, meaning itong si Governor General had the full authority to govern the economic and financial state in our country before. Also, Governor General, the executive power reside in his office with the central government structure, highly reliant on this decision. Lahat ng mga ahensya noon ng gobyerno ay sumusunod sa kanya mga desisyon. His power extended to legislative process. He had the power to suspend all the local law or any decree coming from the Spain if he found it ineffective in the setup of the Philippines. He also lead the Royal Audiencia, also known as the Supreme Court. Siya din tagal na pamahala ng Korte Suprema noon. He also given the privilege to select a priest who would occupy a certain position in the church and society. Meron din siya kaya na maglukluk sa position. Next, and lastly, the Philippine centralized system put the government in the hands of one person, Governor General, who move accordance with the mandate of the King. Spanish government. He has a full authority and mandate of the King of Spain. In this era, the Philippine government had already existed, but it was ruled in the function under the control of the King. Lastly, the Philippine government was also under the influence of the Governor General. Thus, the people wanted him for their political will, and other wanted to own a land with his before. So, di ba? Imagine our country ruled under this era. We have no voice to speak in the own country in this time. So, that end my reports and thank you for all listening. God bless. Good evening.
So, good evening everyone. My assigned topic is the continuation of political system. So, Lieutenant General or General Segundo Cabo assisted the Gobernador General with regard to the matters of the nation. In 1874, the Secretariat of the Central Government was made to further assist the Governor General in his growing power in the nation. Alcaldia. Alcaldia run by the alcalde mayor or the civil governors. Cabildo or ayuntamiento, which was under the administration of two alcaldes, ordinaries or the mayor and the vice mayor. So the difference between the mayor and the vice mayor is the mayor is the chief executive officer centralizing executive power, while the vice mayor or the deputy mayor are the members of the city council who are given the title and severe as acting mayor in the absence of mayor. Gobernador Silo, also called as Kapitan. Kapitan served as the chief executive and judge of the towns he ran. Attaining such position demanded yearly winning vote coming from the board composed of members of the town Principalia. Principalia consisted of old or former cabeza de barangay or people of high standing in the community. Cabeza de barangay controlled the barangay and such title in given to mestizo or Filipino-Chinese people who were responsible for levying taxes and maintaining peace in the barangay. Royal Audiencia, the acting judicial body and the highest court that litigated cases and was composed of Spaniards. Also acted as auditor or the finances of the government. Autos acordados. These laws covered very broad fields ranging from tribute collection to the control of corruption in the provincial government. Alferez or second lieutenant headed the courts of Guardia Civil. Guardia Civil served as the peace forces that did police duties. Example of Philippine during Spanish era. Laws of the Indies or leyes. The laws of the Indies were royal decrees issued several times by the King of Spain intended for Spanish colonies. Laws that promulgated in Spain were also adopted in the Philippines are Código Comercio, Código Penal, Código Civil, Las Siete Partidas, and Las Leyes de Toro. The laws did not seek equality and fairness, but they were made to hold the Philippines captive under the mandates of Spain. Vidal, 1904.
Good evening, guys. Tonight I am going to discuss about the sources of abuse in the administrative system way back then in our country. So, our administration before is very weak because of the inadequacy of the people in the position. And also, yung mga tao na nag-run sa country noon was lacking of qualifications, skills, and leadership traits. So, yung government din na ina-appoint nila sa atin is may mga selfish motives. Because of that, such actions were results in injustices, lack of coordination, and increased financial abuse. So, before, yung mga officials talaga is focus more on their self-interest. rather than the welfare of the state. So, ang daming pang-abuso yung ginawa nila. They collected taxes na higher than the usual, which is recorded. Tapos, according to history, most branch that is very corrupt is in the administrative system. The alcalde functioned as the administrator, judge, and military received a salary of 25 pesos and liberal allowances. He was the most fraudulent official. Discontented of their salary allowances, such official increased contribution and financially abused Filipino hacienderos. So those who wish to participate in such actions, yung ginagawa nila is they have this called indulto para comercial, in which is good produced by native Filipinos, binibila nila yon ng mas mababa, tapos ilahan na sa ginabaligya o mas dako. And so nangyari, madaming complaints na nangyari as the abuses continued. So with the effort of government of Spain addresses such issues, reform decrees were issued in 1844, which provide fixed salary of 1,500 pesos or 1,600 pesos according to rank for provincial governors, and also a qualifications that only lawyers or persons with due legal practice in some related offices could become a provincial governors. So in 1866, the second degree discontinued the judicial executive duties of provincial governors. This led to creation of appointed officials called civil governors who assumed administrative duties.
The existence of dishonest gobernadorcillos of prosperous towns made the position attractive to some men. The negligence of central government to aid towns increased people taxes based on the arbitrary amount decided by the Spaniards. Injustices prevailed as homes of the natives were searched without warrants. People were convicted and exiled for being filibusteros. Sa pamamagitan ng pamumuno ng mga gobernadorcillo, inabuso nila ang kanilang kapangyarihan sa pamamagitan ng pagdagdag ng bawat taxes ng taong Pilipino ayon lamang sa kanilang napag-usapan at hindi ito dumaan sa kahit anong batas. Pinapasok din nila ang bawat tahanan upang hulihin ang mga tao rito at pilitin silang makisali sa kanilang samahan o organisasyon na sumusuporta sa revolusyon. Incompetent judges comprise the judicial courts, which made legal proceeding highly expensive and biased. Thus, the wealthy few often won the case because they were the only one who could finance, such as trials and litigations. In many instances, decisions were delayed and people were bounded by the injustice of the court of justice. The poor were often declared guilty without any due process of law. Merits cases were simply based on money. Sa panahong ito, masyado rin silang naging bias pagdating sa judicial court. Ang kadalasan lamang nananalo ay yung mga taong may kayang magbayad para sa mga trials. Sa panahong ito, ang mga taong may hirap ay laging sinisising may kasalanan kahit hindi na dumaan sa kahit anong batas. churches could interact and take part in the proceeding of the state. They were influential, manipulating the Indios to abide by the state laws as it pleased God. Christianity was a tool of colonizing countries.